Hi guys, thanks a lot for joining us again for In4You. So it's the hashtag IN4YOU. Throughout the week you can tweet us and ask us any of your business questions related to any of the social media platforms or marketing questions that you might have. And once a week we jump in here and we do a 45-minute show to share our knowledge and expertise with you on different platforms, primarily on Facebook, Twitter, and now LinkedIn. Now Leanne's jumping in with us today. Thanks a lot, Leanne, for joining us.
You're welcome.
So today, unfortunately, our guest is unavailable for the seat. So we're actually doing a general lead prospecting show today. So showing you how to find people who are custom for your audience, and so you can bring them to your business using different tips and techniques that we've got for the various different platforms. So Stephen will be talking about Facebook and how you can do that, and that kind of advertising through that side. I'll be concentrating today on Twitter, and Leanne, in case you didn't know, has just a few people on her LinkedIn. What was it, 27,000 are we on?
28,000.
28,000, wow. So I've obviously missed that one. So yeah,
yes.
You're in good hands, so we're gonna kick off. And as Leanne's our guest, and I think it's polite for us to let Leanne kick in first, and let's go live with how we can kind of start finding leads, because most people they get LinkedIn as being a platform that businesses need to be on, and that it's a fast growing platform and there is scope, but they're just not sure where to start. So Leanne, hit us with some tips and tricks for using LinkedIn.
And well, probably one of the things that a lot of people, thanks Tris, probably one of the things that a lot of people don't realise is that that your LinkedIn profile figures really highly in a Google search for your name, and like I know a lot of, at the moment, well, a lot of people, if you either meet someone or you're going to work with someone or looking at some either a partnership or a joint venture or even potential clients, the first thing you'll do is actually do a Google search for the person that you're wanting to find. And so a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people like your LinkedIn profile, and depending on what level of online presence you have and what your effective on real estate online is, generally your LinkedIn profile will come up sometimes number one for your name in a Google search, but usually within the top between 1 and 4 results of a search for your name. And a lot of people, especially when they've created a LinkedIn profile and even haven't put a lot of detail in there or even haven't many connections, it still appears in search. So one of the things that I quite often say to people is, if you're going to have a LinkedIn profile, then have it as complete as what you possibly can. So regardless of whether you actually majorly use it or not, at least have your profile set up in a way that it you've got a really good picture, you've got a really good headline. And a lot of people don't realise that your LinkedIn headline can be altered and personalised to either you, and there's a couple of there's a few schools of thought. It's whether you have your unique selling proposition or your elevator pitch as actually your headline, or whether you have your headline keyworded to the services that you actually provide. And I don't really have I don't really have a preference for that. And I think so, but one of the things that people don't realise is your headline defaults to the current role in your current position. So if you're, the director of XYZ company, if you don't change your profile headline, it will show as your headline, director of XYZ company. So that's really not telling anyone anything about what you are or who you are or what you do. And given the fact that it's your profile picture, your name and your headline that appears either in search or when you're communicating with other people, or when people are wanting to connect, or you're sending a connection request to people, that really is your first point of call. So effectively it's your calling card. So for me, that's probably what I'd say the most important thing is actually have good profile picture, good headline, and your profile as complete as what you can.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do that, then you may as well delete your LinkedIn profile. Like I said, and not every, I'm not sitting here saying everyone needs to have a LinkedIn profile, but if you're going to have one, then you really need to make sure that you've got as much information in there, at least when people find you, it's not going to look like it's abandoned.
Yeah, I mean, the same goes for, I'm going to jump back and pull it back a minute, for Twitter is exactly the same thing. The whole conversation around kind of the egghead conversation around Twitter is, if you're setting up a Twitter account, be it a business one like myself or a personal one like Leanne's and Stephen's where you can see the people, it's really important that you do put the information there so that people know when they find the account, what's this account about, so you can use the info there. Also, not to miss putting in that link, so you can actually have a website link, and it may be to send them to your main website, or you might have a specific promotion on that you want to push maybe for the month of October, and you might have that as your link during October so that you can kind of track it and see. And also with that, I would say that if you're using those links and things to drive people through, one of those things that's worth doing is using a link tracker. So something like Bitly, where you can shorten a link and make it obvious what that link is about. So if someone clicks it, for example, Danny's talking about how she's written a good profile on hers, is if on Twitter, if she was to say, like 2 for 1 on cookies, could be the like bit.ly/2 for 1 on cookies, that kind of example, whatever the offer or deal is, so that you can follow the link, and also you get the analytics of how many people click through, so you can see how many people click through from where, because that URL tracker will be specific to where you put it. So you might have one on your Twitter account, one on your Facebook, and one somewhere else, so that you know which one brought you through. So that's quite a good tip for being able to track where people came from, because it's all very well driving traffic to somewhere and putting effort into 3 or 4 different platforms. Yeah, absolutely, Danny. So I know how many people have gone through, so I'll let you know. Danny's just saying she's doing a Frocktober thing. So for anyone who hasn't, go and check out Sweet Danny's. She's doing a Frocktober thing to raise money for charity. But yeah, you can track those, and it's really important to do that. I mean, there's been quite a few shows recently talking on analytics, and that, I guess, kind of quite neatly wraps me straight into handing over to Stephen to say, when we talk analytics, I know that Facebook is quite good for when you're marketing and targeting leads. Obviously, you're going in on the analytics kind of before you do the stuff, because you can target right down to an audience. So I'm going to let Stephen chime in on Facebook and how you can target an audience there.
Yeah, now one thing that's great on Facebook are conversion pixels and lookalike audiences. Basically, you can do work, and then Facebook will model your work and say, we can duplicate that for you. So if you put in a little time, you pretty much free up the rest of your existence. For lead gen, it comes down to, again, and I keep saying this, goals, content, and targeting. Depending on what your service is, or what your product is, you'll want to have conversion pixels on your site. You'll create an audience based on people that have already been to your site. Target based on behavior. In other words, if someone went to your site and clicked on your events calendar, they're a great candidate to event ads to. For lead generation, this is especially important because you're in real life activity, you're more likely to close if it's based on a Facebook ad. I wish I had the Axiom data so that I could quote you the stats, but it's brilliant for event targeting, for lead generation. And there's two ads you want to create: learn more and sign up. Both of these are going to create a marketable audience that you'll have forever. And these should be your recurring customers, regardless of your industry. Unless you sell, of course, in which case we're not sure life cycle works. And I'm bringing that up because our guest, we had a potential guy coming in tonight to talk about garage door sales. So I was thinking in my mind about how to build a sales funnel via the social channels for garage doors. What does that sales cycle look like? Who's buying garage doors? And Tristan, in his infinite wisdom, immediately went global with this thought and said, target builders, which you can in fact do specifically on Facebook, and create a sales funnel for garage doors on Facebook.
I mean, that's
funny you should say that. I'm just actually later in the week meeting with a company that sells shutters for windows. They sell solar, home improvement. Home improvement things here in South Australia. So I'm actually meeting with them at the end of the week. So I've been sitting here thinking, okay, so who are the sorts of target audiences from a Facebook ads perspective? Am I going to sit there? And so I'm actually going through that whole thought process in my head at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing we were looking at and that was a bit of a curveball this morning, because with garage doors, other than going straight into, property developers and people like that, when are people looking at buying a product like a garage door? Has your garage door broken? Did someone accidentally drive into the garage door? Did your kids hang on the garage door and break it? Or has it just you've moved into a new property and maybe you want an automated garage door so that when you drive in, it goes up and you don't have to do the jumping out and moving it thing? So kind of that was a bit of a curveball this morning, and it got us really thinking. And we enjoy doing these shows because from week to week we get different people in, different types of businesses. I mean, we had a guy in that's doing self-tan products as well. So we're dealing with Mark from Bronze Body. And so every week is different. And from industry to industry, you learn new things as you're helping people. You suddenly think, I wonder what we could learn from this and take back into another industry. And I think that's really important, is to be open-minded to learning from all the different industries. So, I mean, Leanne, if we jump back onto LinkedIn, so, I mean, we've talked about making yourself visible and so that people can find you. But if I was to be wanting to go out and specifically find people, what's the best kind of starting point for me to look for new leads? If I was going to go, right, today I'm going to sit on LinkedIn and I'm going to find people and I'm going to, target a specific type of person. Obviously, we're talking generally, but for a business, where do you start? How do you go about that?
So you would use, a lot of people don't realise that there's an advanced search function within LinkedIn, and so it would be, if you're looking from, say, a local perspective, you can actually target in on a specific zip code or postcode, whatever around the world we call them. So you can target to a specific location, but then you can also target from an industry perspective. So, for example, you might want to be, I might be a financial planner that is looking for specific clients in the Sydney region. And so what I might do is I might look for people, I might look for small business, or, like business owners that may need financial planning, but I also may look at who has my target, who has that target audience before me that I could actually offer a value add service to them. So it might be looking for accountants. So I might look for the industry accounting, under the industry accounting in a particular postcode, and find who are those particular people in that industry. And if they are not, if they're not first level connections, I would send a personalised invitation, a connection request to them. And giving them a good reason, a good value-based reason to actually connect with you, and then starting to form that relationship with them that way. So, yeah, it's about using the advanced search functions and always personalising the connection request.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bits on LinkedIn where obviously they want people to connect and they want people to, it says, oh, you might, if you know this person, then you might know these people. And obviously this is, I think, something I definitely deal with on a daily basis is, random friends, like requests coming in from someone with no context. And I love what you're saying about sending a personalized message. It's the same as if you met someone, on a night out and you wanted to add them on Facebook, you might have had that interaction there, or you might later want to add them. But if you added them later, you'd obviously have to do that hey, yeah, it was great to meet you. You're just adding them. It's a bit out of context, because they might have forgotten. So, especially when you're doing that and looking for kind of business and stuff like that. I mean, I was dealing this week we're looking at resetting up a company similar to one that we did before. And we kind of did a little bit of prospecting and looking for who are the target audience, who is it that's the best people to deal with. And we managed to pinpoint right down to who the directors of the company were and things like that. Yep. But you wouldn't then jump straight in and say, hey, this is us, this is what we do, because obviously there's no existing relationship. And why is the director of this company going to spend time doing that? I mean, you could get really lucky, but it's very unlikely. And I think that building that rapport and that relationship is really important.
And one of the things that I've sort of found is, like, when it comes up with the people that you may know, then LinkedIn is not the most intuitive platform as far as knowing, where to find things and how to find things. And it used to be if you hit the connect button, it would bring up the trusty box that said, how do you know this person? So it gave you the option to say whether you worked with them, whether they're a client or whether they were just a friend. And so, but now there's so many places on LinkedIn that if you hit that connect button, it just fires off the standard, I'd like to add you to my professional network, and it doesn't actually give you the option to personalize it. So it's a really easy way to do it. You just hit the connect button, but it doesn't. You have much more, and I think with my experience, by sending a personalised request, I get around 75 to 85% of people accepting my connection request.
Yeah.
So it makes and one of the things that you don't want to happen is, when you hit that button, when someone receives that request, you always have the option to either accept or ignore the request. But then LinkedIn, if you click to ignore it, that's all you have to do. But LinkedIn has this beautiful message that says, why did you ignore it? Do you not know the person, or is it spam? And what a lot of people don't realise is that if you hit that button saying that that you don't know them, then I think you've got about it, and the numbers sort of vary as far as with exactly what we know. But if you get, say, between 5 and 10 of people saying, I don't know this person, then effectively you get put into LinkedIn jail. So then the only way you can actually connect with people easily is if you've got their email address. So it's really important. And I quite often say, like, please, if anyone gets a request from anyone, don't hit the I don't know button. Like, it really is irrelevant. No one, at the end of the day, LinkedIn don't care. It's really just a matter of, so don't do that. But I've actually created a couple of videos on how to personalize a connection request every time. So either from the web, what you do is you save the person as a contact, then you go back into your saved contacts in your connections and you can send a request from there. Or you find the person on the mobile app and you can send a customized invitation from the mobile app. So Tristan, do you want me to toss that link in? If you've got the link, please tuck it in there. They're 2 videos just on a page on my website that show you how to do it from both the web but also from a mobile app.
I'm curious.
So that for me is one of the most important things, sending that request.
10 days ago, LinkedIn launched the Groups app. Have you become versed on that at all?
I haven't. Literally, Stephen, I saw that last night, and so I've downloaded it while I was laying in bed last night. So no, I haven't actually had a chance to really have a look at it.
Okay.
Leanne, I don't know if you saw Samantha's question. How would you suggest I find potential clients on LinkedIn? I write a lot of posts which get lots of shares, but I don't know how to find potential clients. So
Sam, it would really, I suppose it comes down to, narrowing down who your clients are. So, given the fact that you do a lot of Twitter stuff, given the fact that LinkedIn, you're able to have your Twitter account linked to your LinkedIn profile, that's really important. But it's really just a matter of identifying who are the people that you actually want to work with, and again, doing some searches, maybe have a looking in some groups as to and adding some content within groups, but really, actually connecting with them personally.
Yeah, I was going to say with that, I mean, it's the same across the different platforms, whether it's Twitter and the Twitter chats, or it's LinkedIn and the groups, or even Facebook groups. I mean, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups where, they're specific to helping with certain things. Is the more value you can add to any of those places, if you're on a Twitter chat and you're offering a lot of information, or you're in a group on Facebook and you're offering information to people on how they can improve things that they're doing, or point them in the right direction for something that they really need. All of these different things kind of build your rapport with those people, and actually it makes you, again, it's always about this, how do you get people, you want the ideal situation is for people to come to you already ready for your service. They know what you talk about. They might just not know what it is you offer, so then that making it accessible. And I think so many people offer so much value and kind of forget to close the deal with having any way of, you might be like, sorry, I'm going to use you as an example, Leanne, not that you do this, but Leanne's obviously knows a lot about LinkedIn, but if she did a whole show about LinkedIn and then gave you no call to action, or even just said, if you need any help, contact me, then if there's not that, quite a few people would not necessarily proactively seek that out. So just making it available to people is quite often enough. So some people don't even know. I mean, Christy and I actually do co-hosting with other people on other people's shows. And, it's something that people don't necessarily know that we do. So obviously, I mean, we've done that as a person. We've reached out to people and said, hey, we do this. Would you like the help on the shows that we know are going to be busy, or things like that where they're likely to need help? But if we never suggested it to them, how would they know that we do it? Because especially something like that, you can't necessarily see. I mean, here we're quite vocal about it, and Christy's in and out of camera. But if we didn't say anything, how would people know that that's going on? Just because she's active in the chat, she could just be a very active person on the platform. So it's really important to let people know what you do. I mean, mine is pretty obvious. I have photos behind me and stuff. Like I do photography work as well. But when I did a lot of club photography work, one of the things that came from that was, obviously, if you do club photography, you meet a lot of people. People are getting married, people are having birthdays. And if you don't let people know that you do anything other than club work, that's what they think you do. That's your style of photography. It might be that you do this whole other range, and doing a club set of photos for well under what it should be, which is unfortunately the nature of the industry, has the potential to open up the doors for loads of leads, private parties, like weddings and things like that. So I know DJs have then gone on to get married and say, hey, do you do wedding photos? And they've come and they've asked, and specifically, so you can go and get that. So it's about being in front of people and being visual, but making it easy for people to find out that what you do. So Stephen, how do you go about letting people know what you do through Facebook? I mean, we've got the whole targeted kind of advertising thing where you can again, similar to what we just were saying about LinkedIn, where you can target it and narrow it right down through your adverts. What tips have you got?
Yeah, your sugar stick information is in that About Me page. Be as concise and as few words as you can. It doesn't help, it doesn't hurt to have an intro video to whatever the brand is, to have a featured video that is an introduction to your brand or service. Firm believer in giving it as much information with as little searching as possible. Remarkably enough, I'm running a test campaign in the American market for a Russian brand that wanted to, an unusual request, spend a week to see if there was interest in their product on American soil. And it turns out, as of day 2, there is, with potentially their first sale as of yesterday. The hard part is they've got one sold, but it's going to cost them more to ship their product than the individual who bought it had to pay. So we realized that in terms of our business model, yes, it's a successful product. Now we need to figure out a way to make it affordable. And really, for 48 hours to find out that there is enough interest in the American by the American market in their product is it's a huge win for me. And I'll admit, uncommon. Generally, it doesn't happen that.
Yeah. I mean, that's really good. I mean, like, I'm going to go into, I mean, I haven't done the whole prospecting through Twitter thing. I feel like I think it's my turn to chime in and talk Twitter then. So, I mean, again, this is another little thing that most people are fairly unaware of, which I talk to a lot of people about, is going through Twitter. And Twitter has an advanced search as well, where you can specifically find people who are tweeting in a specific location, who are tweeting about a specific topic. So you can really narrow down to exactly the type of people that you're looking for. And in fact, the one thing that I find killer with Twitter is the fact that it has like an emotive search. So I can look for someone who's unhappy about something, unhappy with the product, which is brilliant if you're in a market, which most people are, where you have a competitor, because you can look for unhappy customers of your competitors. And if anyone's seen or heard my talk that I did in the UK, I did an example of comparing two pizza restaurants where one could basically target the other one's customers by finding unhappy customers and reaching out to them and offering a higher level of service. And if they're unhappy, it's not difficult to do a higher level of service. And they're a pre-qualified lead because they're interested in the type of product, they're willing to pay for it because they're already an existing customer of your competition, and they're unhappy. So they're already a very hot lead for your business because you've kind of pre-qualified them by doing that search. And then you can go to the area, and if you're a specific, say you're a local restaurant, you would go, okay, within 5-10K of where I am, so that that person's happy to travel that distance as well to come to your restaurant. So you've done all of this research even before you speak to the person, and then you can reach out to them and make that offer, and you can go down that route of get into a conversation through Twitter, you could video message them. There's a whole range of different ways that you can reach out to them and get straight into there. So, I mean, that's a really powerful side from Twitter. Obviously, you can go down the route of using Twitter advertising and Twitter cards, which also allow you to collect people's contact details, which is fantastic because basically if you make an offer through these things and they click to accept, what happens is they're authorizing you to access their information without having to re-enter it. And this is when you're trying to collect information about people or contact information, nobody likes filling in forms. Nobody likes having to refill things in, which is exactly the reason that things like sign in with Twitter and sign in with Facebook work so well, is because people are lazy. People like to go, I want this, I don't have to do anything, click, click, which is the same as most ebook downloads and things like that are, I just want your email address. First name and email address maybe, and that's it. I won't ask for any more because if I ask for more, if I add one more field, the drop-off rate of number of people who would fill in the form is much higher than you would think just for that extra field. And which is why, if you look at how Facebook have got their big data, like they never went, hey, give us all of your information in one go. They went, fill in this bit, name, first name, surname, email address. Cool, you're signed up. Oh, just to make your account secure, give us your mobile number. Like, oh, where did you study? Somebody wanted to know this. And suddenly you start stacking the information. And that's the way to build it, is if you want to get information about people, build it in small chunks. Because that way, it's also important. I mean, we've got up on our, you won't be able to see it, but up on our wall, this piece of paper here is actually our values and our mission statement for All Things Networking. And one of our things is always take note. And this is something we talk about on a regular basis, is does that person have kids? When's their birthday? They're not relevant business things, but they absolutely 100% are relevant to business. I'm not sure if my mum's still in the chat, but she told me this week there's a guy who secured a massive contract in the UK because he wished someone a happy birthday. There was two people that were discussing the contract. Both were on the table, both were competitive, and one of them said happy birthday and the other one didn't. And so the person who said happy birthday is the person who secured the contract because it got personal. So delivering that and showing that you care. I mean, this is something, if you guys listen to Brian Fanzo, iSocial Fans, talks about all the time. And in fact, his newsletter is called Show You Care. It's about how can you like show over and above? Like, I don't need to know that. One of the things I do, I actually do quite a lot of complaining to help companies get better. I constructively build criticism for companies, because a lot of people don't complain. They'll have a moan on Twitter or something, but they won't follow through. And I'm currently writing a blog about customer service and the customer experience and comparing 4 different brands. And I had so talking about making it personal, I reached out. Virgin Mobile in Australia have just done a campaign where they partnered with an Australian live streaming music service, where if you sign up for the service, you get 1 gig of extra data so you can listen to the music, which is a great service. I thought, this is great. I'm going to sign up for that and check it out. Unfortunately, being from the UK, all of my apps and everything are from the UK App Store, which means if I moved, I'd have to repurchase everything, and it's not available in the UK App Store. So I tweeted just saying, great products, love what you guys are doing, partnering together, and I think it's fantastic. Unfortunately, UK App Store can't get it. And the streaming service tweeted me straight back, and they said, "Oh, we're really sorry." You know, they responded quite quickly, and they came back and they gave me a response saying, "You know, we're sorry that we can't provide this service. Obviously, there's no particular interest in us to put it in the UK store." And I was happy with that. But then about an hour later, I got a tweet message from Virgin Mobile. Virgin Mobile tweeted me saying, "Really sorry to hear that this has happened. Obviously, we'd love you to get the benefit of this service, but understand it's not possible. Can you DM us your details? We've got a surprise for you." Now, Virgin Mobile didn't have to say anything at this point, but Virgin Mobile reached out to me. And the result from that was Virgin Mobile gave me money to spend on going to a gig that they didn't have to. They sent me event ticket money so that I could go and experience live music because I couldn't get it on my phone. And you think about what the power of that is. They've reached out on a personal level because I've showed an interest in music and really liked their brand product and stuff. The level of customer service on that was amazing. But on the flip side, there's a lot of really bad customer service and bad experience out there, which obviously I'll be highlighting when I write the post. And it's amazing to see the massive contrast and how little effort it was. It was 3 tweets and an email. And suddenly now I want to tell everyone about their brand. I'm a big advocate for Virgin Australia anyway. And they've now done it even more. I just want to tell everyone. As far as I'm concerned, it's since I've been in Australia for 2 years, it is the biggest and best level of customer service I've received in 2 years in Australia, hands down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something I'd like to add to the lead generation on Twitter. Twitter gives you the option to add a destination URL for the data you're about to collect, which you can instantly import to your CRM. So if you've got different behaviors that you're trying to prompt, you can send it to different automation compartments within your CRM to initiate a specific call to action based on the Twitter user's behavior. And I think that's one of the coolest things on the planet.
Yeah. So I just called Christy in because I saw a few questions fly past and I couldn't keep up with them, and they've removed, and we haven't got the questions tab back at the top yet. So
no, and they're actually okay because they weren't questions, but History Needs You's actually been putting up some good points, and I love the first one he put up, so that's why I was like, sure, I'll come on instead of telling him what they weren't really questions. He said, acquire personal data in small chunks equals cooking a frog alive. To do that, you stick it in cold water and warm it gently, which is true. Absolutely. You don't want to toss it into boiling water right away. So that was a good point. And then something else he said was kindness and concern transforms a critic to an advocate. So that was a great example as well. So yeah, they weren't exactly questions, but worth mentioning.
Absolutely. Matthew, thanks a lot. Yeah, always bringing some serious value here. And I appreciate you spending the time with us as well. It's always good to have people in. And like I say, we always ask people to do the tweet out thing. It's just so that we can get this information in front of as many people as possible. We do this, just as a goodwill thing. We like to give something back as well. We're all in a fairly blessed position, and we like to be able to give something back to the people here as well. So we always appreciate people tweeting out and letting more people know about the show that we do the same time every week. So, I mean, we talked about lead generation. I'm conscious we've probably got about 7 or 8 minutes left. So, have either of you guys got any more quick tips that we can fire off to people on something that they can do today to kind of move their business forward? So, like one simple thing that they could do on the various platforms that can take their business that step further than they maybe are right now. I'm going to let Leanne go first.
Who's going first?
I've been a proponent.
I can say.
So let's go, Stephen. Stephen, do you want to go first?
I've been a proponent for moving your page into the Business Manager just for the accessibility and options. If you haven't done it, do it. It just makes things easier when you grow, when you scale, when you partner. You'll be a lot better off. If you aspire to succeed, to get that taken care of. Simple. Well, I can't say simple, but it's something you should do. Move your page into the Business Manager.
I was just looking at what Cara just wrote, Stephen. I was just about to say, I must admit, after using pages as they've been for as long as I have, going into the Business Manager is certainly a learning curve, and working out where things are and how it works certainly has been different. And Cara's just written the same thing. It's a bit of a learning curve, but it is a great tool.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it. It's people making the best use of the tools that are available. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily know about Business Manager. You know, a lot of people just think Facebook is Facebook, right? And everything you do is within Facebook. But there's this whole, business and advertising kind of platform where you can really drill down into the data and you can analyze much, much better. So for anyone who needs any further help with that, I know that, Stephen, it will be available if anybody wants to connect and find out how they can do a much more efficient job with their Facebook pages on advertising and reaching those audiences. That's definitely something worth doing and reaching out to speak to Stephen. So, Leanne, your LinkedIn tip whilst we were on the last few minutes.
Probably like making sure your profile is complete, but actually building your network, actively building your network, and so doing an advanced search and connecting with, say, 10, sending personal invitations. What I do is I have Evernote open on my I have Evernote on my mobile, and so I have a couple of templates of connect, of personal invitations. And so what I'll do is I'll search for the person. I'll generally search for the person online on the web. But if I'm using the mobile app, I literally just open the I click on customize invitation, flick over to Evernote, cut and copy the template, go back and paste that into the connection invitation, customize it a bit more and send it off. So from a time perspective, to send 10 connection requests a day takes you maybe 10 minutes. Once you've done the search and So for me, it would be building at least up to 500 connections in the fastest time that you can, because if you have less than 500 connections, when someone goes to your profile, they can see how many connections you have. And I know a lot of people don't connect with people that have got less than 500 connections because they just don't think that their network's big enough, or that they're going to be a connection that's going to add a huge amount of to their network. So that's what I would say, is just try and get to that 500, because then it just shows off just on your profile page 500 plus. So yeah, just build your network and connect with strategic people. But I never discount a connection, and I think that a lot of people won't accept connection requests from either people they don't know or in a different industry. And I figure the bigger network that you have, the more you just never know when someone's going to either be a potential customer themselves, but maybe have a friend that may either need your services or that you could partner with. So it's about in this day and age, it's as much about who you know as what you know. So don't be scared.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, it's really it is really important to like I say, that is about building that relationship and that connection as well, though, like is getting an introduction. I mean, a little insight onto a side project that I'm currently working on is I'm looking at the backpacker market in Australia, and the backpacker market in Australia is 524,000 backpackers on working holiday visas every year, of which 56% of them, their backpacker nights are spent in New South Wales, which is on my doorstep. And most of the people who are in New South Wales are probably going to be in Sydney, and they spend an average of 60 nights. So I can give pretty much an exact number of nights that are spent. Therefore, when I approach a hostel to work with them, I can say, hey, here's the reasons that we want to partner with you. Here's how many nights are spent here. We've already done all our research. But when I want to reach out to those people, how do I do that? Do I go and walk into the hostels and try to do the introduction where I speak to someone on the front desk who's probably a backpacker themselves, who doesn't work for the company? And to do that, I was very, very blessed this week in the fact that one of the guys that's part of my original team back in Bournemouth is actually now living out here and works for one of the biggest backpacker hostels here in Australia. And we just went out for lunch the other day, and in 5 minutes he showed me who the CEO was, gave me the background of the whole company. I know what the company is that owns the backpacker company, so the company above the company, and he gave me 3 connections on LinkedIn, that 2 of which he's connected to and could introduce, and one that was, this is someone you need to connect to. And as soon as he brought it up, guess what? 3rd level connection, I could probably be introduced anyway, because I already have an existing network in Australia that is wider than his at the moment. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth doing that. And like the people, your network, I mean, we're obviously all about building a big global network that can offer massive value. And I know that Leanne's very passionate about kind of helping people to connect to those people as well. So it's really good. I noticed that Jed's jumped in just right on the end of the show as well, Jed. So maybe next week. I know that the times are changing as well. We had this discussion before we came on, so we'll be updating the graphics and the times on the posts that are going out. So if you see a graphic go out and it's got the wrong time on, the Australian time is definitely right, and we'll be updating the graphic for the others. So apologies to anyone who saw that. We are on the end of the 45 minutes, and we are trying to keep them locked down to the 45 now. So we're going to do a quick wrap up. So Leanne, if people wanted to reach out to you, guessing LinkedIn is the best place. Do you have your LinkedIn
look, that would
link?
be fine. I must admit, Twitter I'm spending much more time on, and I'm actually learning to love Twitter, which I never thought I'd say, but I am.
Yes.
I'm learning to love Twitter. I am. But yeah, so either Twitter or LinkedIn, and so please go to the leanneisakson.com, and I'll type it in /connection, and personalize the connection request, because to start with, just to practice learning how to do it, and making sure you do it every time, and just that it becomes second nature rather than hitting just the standard connect button, will certainly allow you to build a network that you can engage with. And I know, given the fact that I've got 28,000 connections, clearly I don't engage with 28,000 people, but I know that if somebody said to me, Leanne, can you find me some lawyers in Miami, in Florida, that specialise in social media, I know that within my network I could actually do a search and find them, and I know how I could connect with them and start to build engagement and a relationship with them. So like I said, that's for me is sending the connection request and actually building the relationships.
Yeah. And I will tell you one tip that Leanne gave me months ago that I still try to stick with. I try to update my profile at least every 3 weeks or so, changing some little thing on my profile. And that has worked wonders for me, because people that I have not done business with in 8 years, 12 years, all of a sudden, they're not just liking things or the changes that I'm making, but I'm actually getting private messages from those people, and they're wanting to reconnect as well. And I'm building new connections off of those. So that's been something that's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Can I just say one of the things that that people, so go into your privacy settings and change the notifications that you don't let people know every time you make a change on your profile, because then people become, if you change your profile every however often, then people become blind to it.
Yeah.
So turn it off as the default, because on is the default. So turn it off, but then when you actually make a change, Like, I'll strategically turn it back on, make a change, and then what that does is it lets people know, and they think, oh, you know, I wonder what she's done. So and then I'll turn it off again, because I don't want everyone to see every time I change a word or something like that. But it's just about, you know, being a bit strategic on how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess for me, I've just dropped my LinkedIn in the side there because Matthew was asking for that. So anyone who wants to connect, please do feel free. Not quite sure why the link is not working. But yeah, do connect with me on LinkedIn. But like Leanne said, please send me a message. Let me know, like, how can I help you? If you reach out and you say, hey, love that show, want to know a little bit more about how to do Twitter, brilliant, that's it. It doesn't need to be a big, long message, but do please personalize it. For me, I do obviously spend a lot more time on Twitter. If you look at my Twitter account and look at the media tab, you'll see that it's stupidly active on media. There's a lot of images, videos, and bits and pieces going up there. I do also, I'm not sure if Christy's got the link to hand, I do actually host 3 shows a week here on Blab, and they are in Australia. They're Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I do, obviously, this is the Monday one for us here in Australia, where we do live business help. And then on a Tuesday, I'm with the lovely Sarah Moore doing a show called Create in 30, where we do a 30-minute show that shows you specifically to one platform how to create compelling content for that specific platform. So each week we concentrate on a different platform. Next week's show, the link is there. The topic is all about storytelling this week and how to customize the same story across a number of different platforms. So you know how to tell a good story in 140 characters, say, for Twitter, in pictures for Snapchat, and things like that. So yeah, please do subscribe and check out that show there. And the other show I do is on Wednesday, is all about live streaming with Vincenzo Landino and special guests. And this week we've got Zainology, the lovely Zainology from Blab, joining us this week. So that's a pretty awesome show. But if you just check out my Twitter account, I regularly tweet the show links out every day, so you'll be able to find them from there if you're already following me. Christy, where can people follow you? Where can they connect with you?
People can just follow me on Twitter. It's fine. Unfortunately, aside from last weekend, Periscope has not seen much of me since Blab, and neither has Facebook. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I right now am currently doing 4 shows a week, 2 on Sundays and 2 on Wednesdays. The biggest one that I'm excited about is actually the World's Next Music Star, where we actually do artist development every Wednesday afternoon. We do that as part of GoT Media with Ed Brophy, who's actually in the room, Evan Doobie from Five and Dime Records, and Justin Shukat, who's the president of Primary Wave Music. But it's been a great experience. We've done, I want to say, 4 episodes of that show and 2 test shows. It's been wonderful. Leanne, as a matter of fact, has come aboard as one of our mentors to our artists, which is phenomenal because she's teaching them how to get connected and how to build their network and grow their network. So it's absolutely fantastic. We've had some neat talent on the show, so it's been kind of cool to see that.
Awesome.
There's Jay Garrett.
Yeah, make sure that you do follow Christy on Twitter. Really easy. If you're new to Blab, you can click on her name and then you get a little blue bird on her profile. Click that, takes you straight to her Twitter profile, and you can follow her there. Stephen, connecting with you, where's the best place? We know you're a bit of a Facebook fiend, but is there anywhere else people should connect?
Stop by. I'm number 15 on the keypad at the front door. I'll buzz you in. Actually, if you look right there is my handle on Twitter. Right there is my name as it appears on Facebook. And I am actually stronger and more adept there on Twitter than I am here on Facebook.
And you know we can't see your finger at all because the little black thing is actually covered by your finger.
We knew where it was
what you were pointing to. There you go.
That's it.
Twitter?
I'm just giving you my time.
That makes a change. So, guys, thanks a lot again for joining us. Please do reach out and connect with us on whichever your chosen platform is. The links and stuff are all there in the chat, and we've told you where the best place is to find us. If you need any help during the week with anything business related, please use the hashtag #IN4U. That's IN, the number 4, and then YOU on Twitter. We monitor that hashtag throughout the week, and then we pick up those questions and we answer them in a live show. So be sure to come and join us on the live show here. I'm not sure if Christy's dropped the link for next week, but if not, she's just about to. So next week's show, please do subscribe. Please also tweet it out once you've subscribed and let people know that about the show, because obviously the more people come in, the more people we can help, and the more people can learn from each other as well, because obviously that's the best way of learning, is you've got this whole community around you that you might as well help them at the same time. So yeah, there's a nice easy link for you. It's bit.ly/IN4U0211, so 0211 on the end. So yeah, it's pretty easy to find there. And we really appreciate all of your time. Thanks a lot to Stephen and Christy, who are on the show every week, and Leanne, who jumped in to give us some LinkedIn help this week. And we look forward to catching you again on the show at the same time next week, or same time, give or take the hour of daylight savings change. But we'll see you at the same time next week here on Blab, and also through Twitter using